This is going to be a quick video about a very interesting link between Terach, the father of Abraham, and Job. And then I'll show how it's all connected in numbers by the number 210. Returning to the earlier questions, since Terach lived before the giving of the Torah, why should he be punished for not believing in God? The midrash tells us that Abraham was 48 before he came to believe in God, and that Terach did not convert to monotheism until even later in his old age. Abraham was punished, therefore, for waiting so long to accept the existence of God. This might explain also why Job was punished. Job was none other than Uz, or Oats, the grandson of Terach. He carried the guilt of his grandfather, who waited so long to see the truth of God's existence. So you can see how all three of them are connected in this source. But why did Job have to pay for the guilt of his grandfather? According to the Kabbalists, Job held the transmigrated soul of Terach. So he was you could say, reincarnation of Terach. Job was a reincarnation of Terach, according to this. So in fact, through Job was Terach atoning for his sins. Job, then, was not paying for his father's or his grandfather's sins, but for his own sins, which transmigrated with him into future generations. Abraham was fearful that he might have to atone for the sins of his father after having the vision of the pieces. He needed to be reassured that while he would have to atone for his own sins, he would not have to atone for the sins of his father. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Abraham was actually very fearful that he thought he would have to bear the suffering for his father's reluctance to convert. God reassured him that Job had already been born and that he would bear this suffering instead of him. But Abraham's descendants were still destined to suffer in Egypt for the sins of their ancestor Abraham. So we can see how they're all connected, but here's how they're connected through the number 210. So for what reason was Abraham, our patriarch, punished and his children enslaved to Egypt for 210 years? So we remember the exile in Egypt was 210 years long. And then we see at the end of the book of Job, afterward, Job lived 140 years to see 4 generations of sons and grandsons. What's interesting about this is Job was 70 at the time. So when they add 140 years, 70 plus 140 is 210.